Welcome back, everyone, to Deep Cuts. I'm your host, AJ, and today I'm thrilled to be talking with a truly dynamic voice in the hardcore scene. From their explosive sound to their deeply emotional lyrics, One Step Closer has been making waves and leaving an undeniable mark on the music world. Leading the charge is Ryan, the band's incredible vocalist, whose raw energy and performances have resonated with fans everywhere. Whether you've been with them since their debut or just discovering them, there's no denying their impact. So let's dive into the stories behind the music, the inspiration that fuels the band, and what's next for One Step Closer. Ryan, thank you so much for being here, man.
Dude, yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, man. And also before, I just want to say congrats on the 1 million plays on Giants Despair. I saw that post the other day on your
Dude,
Spotify.
thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited. It just seems like that song's been making an impact on people, which feels good just because of how much it means to us. So,
Yeah, and that's the first song that I even discovered by you guys. Like me being from Wilkes-Barre, like I know there's like a lot of, there's kind of like a big music scene in that area.
yeah, dude, I the Wilkes-Barre music scene's crazy. Ever since I was a kid and going to see like Title Fight and Tiger's Jaw when they were, younger and even, Cold World and all these crazy hardcore bands and then we get bands like Breaking Ben and, Motionless in White that are now like, dude, Motionless in White is massive now. It's
Dude, they're
insane.
huge.
Yeah, they did two nights at the arena and I was like, that is insane.
Yeah, and like they sold out both nights, and especially like that type of, like harder music, like being in this mainstream now. Like it's crazy to see how much has come since, say like the early 2000s with this music.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's awesome to see bands from here still like, keeping heavy music alive and, just still kind of doing the thing and representing, our home, which is it's awesome.
For sure. And that was actually like one of the first questions I was going to ask is about Wilkes-Barre. So like you kind of started leading the charge there. But like you said, like growing up, you saw like Title Fight, Tiger Jaw, and Motionless in White, and even I guess the Menzingers also like being from Scranton.
Yeah, there was a lot of bands that I kind of grew up seeing. I honestly I feel like it was kind of their like prime. A lot of them like I remember seeing Title Fight. I think it was 2011. It was like right after Shed came out
Mm.
and it was one of the first it was the first hardcore show I've ever went to. My dad used to take me to concerts a lot when I was growing up, but this was like the first time ever, seeing people stage dive and moshing and kind of having that experience of a more kind of intense show, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then, I caught Title Fight so much after that because that was just like one of my favorite bands. And that was saw them all through like the Floral Green era and then everything up to Hyperview. And, I saw a bunch of the holiday shows that Tigers Jaw and the Menzingers used to do in Scranton. And yeah, just a lot of like legendary bands that had some really, impactful shows on the community here back in the day. And it was awesome. And they still, and a lot of them still play, I mean, despite Title Fight, like Tigers Jaw just did a show recently, in Wilkes-Barre, and we were on tour, I think, when they did it, but I would have been there for sure if we weren't.
Mm. And now you're playing a show with Tiger's Jaw soon, right?
Yeah, I actually leave tomorrow. We're doing it's the Hot Mulligan holiday shows.
Oh,
So
right.
it's yeah, Friday we're in Grand Rapids and then Saturday we're in Detroit. It's like Tiger's Jaw Fireworks is playing again, which I remember seeing them when I was younger. You Blew It. This band called If Kansas Had Trees, which is they're also from Wilkes-Barre, which is really sick. Just to kind of like have some Wilkes-Barre representation on something like that, and have not just one band but like three bands from our area. That's really special to me.
Right. Now,
So,
oh, sorry. You can keep, sorry.
no, no, you're good.
I was gonna say like as like a joke, like what makes Wilkes-Barre have all these like rock and like like emotional bands, man.
Dude, depression, man. It's just depression. Honestly, it's yeah. I mean, we come from a you. I mean, obviously, you're from the area, so you know the vibes, but it's just it's a very unique, special little place in in Northeast Pennsylvania. And I think a lot of people here are, for the most part, older and maybe kind of depressed or just kind of living out their days here, and the weather's not always super great. And I don't know. I think there's just kind of something in the water, or just something that like makes people here just want to create and be inspired to like make music. I really don't know how to describe it other than that. And I think there's so many really, really talented artists from here that are even, not even known by the public eye or like in the mainstream eye at all, that are just still continuing to make like really, really cool things.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like you said, like when bands like Title Fight and like Breaking Ben or like were coming up in like the 2000s and 2010s, like they would do like the little like house shows or like VFW shows. And
Yeah.
especially with Title Fight, the only way to experience it now is through YouTube videos and, millions of fans later, like after they I don't know if they're on like a hiatus or they broke up. I don't know what that situation is, but like, people wanting them to come back and the only way to experience it was through YouTube on
Yeah.
those shows and bands like One Step Closer and all these other bands from Wilkes-Barre are still like keeping that spirit up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, all the record release shows that we've done in Wilkes-Barre, except for the first one, but like the last two were literally DIY built shows. We rented a stage, rented like just a bigger kind of spot, and just made it work and had a show there. Just because like that's kind of the spirit of our area. We don't really have that many music venues, to be fair,
Mhm.
and we don't really have that many that are suitable for like more than like 200 people really.
Right.
So you don't have that like kind of sweet spot of like, oh, we need like a 3 to like 500 capacity room. So then everybody just rents a VFW and just builds a stage and does it themselves, which I think is like, it's just like the coolest thing, that's how I've seen Title Fight 90% of the times. I think that
Mhm.
I saw them were all at like, they did both record releases that I saw were at VFW halls. Saw them another time at a VFW hall. I saw them at a small DIY venue that we used to have here called Redwood. And yeah, I mean, it's just like there's just something special about that, and experiencing a band like that than, rather than seeing them at like a big festival or seeing them with behind a barricade at a big venue or something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's not the same. And
Yeah. Yeah. Just not the same spirit, kind of.
right. And there's no shortage of VFWs in northeastern Pennsylvania, so
Yeah, that's for sure, man. That's for sure.
and I want to tell you also, like I saw you back in July was the Jack show, right? That was July.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you just released All You Embrace back in May, so I was 2 months before. And also want to say my favorite album of the year, like that shit,
Oh, thanks, man.
banger to
Thank you so
banger
much.
after every track.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really happy with how people have been receiving it, honestly.
And I was just curious, like, what's like the creative process as well for that album specifically? Like, how collaborative is it between everyone? Like, is it mainly one person or like the whole band brings in elements and the inspiration for that album?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this record was the most collaborative that we've ever been on a record. It's just me, Coleman, and Ross that are like the main three members now. Like we have a lot of people kind of rotating in as like fill-ins for bass and drums at the moment. But the three of us, really collabed a lot on this record. And I think it was the best way to get the best results, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
A lot of the times before this, I was kind of writing a lot of the songs for not everything, but writing probably like 85% of the songs and kind of throwing them to the guys and being like, hey, what do you think? And then, Ross would sprinkle his ideas on top, and then we'd kind of like, record it and just go with it. But I feel like this time everybody really sat and thought about what we wanted to do and let things just kind of come naturally and not let ourselves, kind of be confined into this box of just, you know, oh, we have to keep it hardcore. It has to stay like heavy no matter what. Like we were very open to new ideas and new things. And I think that's kind of what made this record special for us and made us connect with it even more too, because I think the guys having a lot more like in on it and just being like, yeah, I like wrote this song and I was like really a part of this part, or like I did the drums on this entire song and I'm really stoked on how they turned out. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
things like that, I think really made us come together even closer than we've been for years at this point, you know? Um, but yeah, it was definitely a really, really cool experience doing this one. And I can't wait to like just keep writing and doing more stuff.
That's sick, man. Do you have like a personal preference, like the time between albums, like every few years, or just like whenever you feel inspiration or like writing?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of planned on this where we're just not really going to stop writing. So we kind of just have been continuing to write new music and have been playing at home and, recording demos and stuff like that. Like I literally just recorded like two demos in the last, like, well, I guess like 2 months really, because I was gone for a little bit in between, but I recorded a demo before I left for tour. And then I recorded a demo as soon as I got back, just trying to like keep the inspiration flowing and keep the ideas moving, just because I feel like nowadays like you kind of have to keep putting out singles and kind of like keep putting yourself out there just to make sure that you're not really forgotten about.
Mm. Yeah, that was also what I was curious about is like, especially now with the music industry, it's all like the numbers game. Like, how can you keep
Yeah,
numbers up? So I'm curious as, being in like a hardcore punk band as compared to like, friggin' Sabrina Carpenter or something where it's just billions of streams every day.
yeah.
Like, how, not necessarily like the difference, but like, how is it like trying to keep, I guess, with algorithms or whatever? Like, how has your experience been with the music industry?
Unfortunately, like we live in a time that's a lot different than even the time of when I was going to see shows and watching the bands that I admire and look up to, like doing their thing. It's just really, like you said, it's a numbers game, and how you portray yourself online and how people kind of view you, because that's it really, is like Instagram and TikTok are what's blowing up a lot of bands now, and keeping bands popular and stuff. So yeah, I mean it's something that I try not to pay attention to be honest with you. Like I try not to look at our numbers too much, because I think when I see, after the record dropped, there was like a lot of people listening and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome." And then you naturally like you lose your playlisting and stuff like that, and then the numbers go down, and like I just think that's a bad way to look at your band,
Hmm.
because that doesn't always convert to like how many people are showing up at your shows. So like there could be a big TikTok guy who has 500,000 month listeners and he can't even pull 200 people to a show. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's like it's I think for hardcore in general and music in general is like it's all about the live show. It's not about your numbers online. It's not about, you know, how many Spotify listeners you have every month. It's just about how many people are coming to your shows, how many people are there like having fun and making the shows wild, and just like experiencing the music the real way.
Hmm.
So I mean, we have management and stuff that are kind of on us about like, yeah, you gotta keep putting out music, you gotta keep, grinding in the thing. And yeah, and I just tried my best not to like let that bother me, or really, let that take away from what it's all about.
Hmm. And would you say merch might be a big part too? Like you guys like really pump out like a lot of stuff. Like I saw the drop you guys just did the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say merch is something that we definitely care about a lot, just because we don't want to make stuff that we wouldn't personally wear ourselves. And I feel like we're all like pretty into fashion and just like into the things that we really like. And we all like to try to portray ourselves as much into the music as we possibly could. And as much as we do into the music, I would like to do the same into the merch.
Hmm.
So we're constantly trying to come up with cool stuff. And I think it just like helps us stand out a little bit against like other bands that may just not really care about that stuff as much and just kind of print whatever, which is totally fair too. So it's just our thing, and we just like to put a lot of thought and effort into it.
Mm. And your music videos, especially Giants Despair. Now that was shot on 16 millimeter film, right?
Yeah. We shot that one on I forget the name of the camera, but it was a crazy 16 millimeter film that like they used to shoot like movies and stuff on.
Mm.
And this guy that we hired to direct and like, be I forget what it's called. He was our he was filming everything, but the guy that we hired to do that, he was able to rent that camera off a friend of his for like super cheap, and we were able to get like enough rolls to just be like, all right, we have like an hour's worth of footage that we can record, and like that's it. So we got to make sure we get it done and we get it done right. Just because if we went over or like tried to do too much, it would have just been way too expensive.
Right.
So yeah, so and we had to like kind of try to stay in the budget as much as we could. So, but that video turned out so sick. That's my favorite video we've ever done for sure.
100% agree. Like when I first saw that video and I noticed, like, I'm a big like movie fan, like I'm a filmmaker too.
Yeah,
And so I saw that and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like that's 16 millimeter film. Like no one does that anymore. Like
yeah,
it's
dude.
so cool to see that format still being used, especially on a like hardcore like music video like that.
Yeah, it was really fun. I honestly like it was jam packed into like 2 days, and we filmed at so many different locations, and we're just like riding around town as and just finding different places that looked cool, and we were just like, this is sick, this is perfect, like let's set up and like film it here. All right, film 30 seconds, on to the next spot, like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it was just very like run and gun, like let the moment kind of happen kind of thing. And man, he captured some really really cool shots. And Ross and I, we were really busting our ass on that video, and all the love to Ross. Like he was waking up mad early to like go to specific places at like certain times to like get the right lighting. And yeah, it was really fun. And I hope that we could, kind of make something similar to that at some point again.
Now, was the budget like crazy for that? Because I know that film could be quite expensive just to like get the roles and get them developed and
Yeah, I honestly, it wasn't that crazy of a budget. Like somehow, like we were able to do it, and I think it was just because the homie Andrew was like not charging us like a lot, because he was like he does like I think he's like a boom operator or something like that for like TV shows, and at the time he was on a TV show like filming and doing stuff like that. So I think he was just trying to like kind of get out of that and do something a little bit more fun and creative for him. So
mm,
he didn't charge us like a crazy amount of money. And that's why we were able to do the film, because we were like, oh, well, if he's only charging us that much, like we have enough in the budget to like do the film and kind of make that happen. So, but yeah, no, it wasn't, I don't think it was more than like 5 or 6 grand, to be honest with you.
that actually doesn't seem too bad, honestly.
Yeah, like it wasn't, music videos are way more expensive than people think, and especially to get like good music videos and get a good director and stuff like that. Like if we went to someone who maybe had a little bit more of a name as a director and stuff like that, that probably would have been a $20,000 to $25,000 music video. You know,
Man,
but we were able to really like get a lot of results with just like mainly Ross being director and kind of guiding Andrew through like a lot of like the shots and like the vision and doing all that stuff. We're super hands on with a lot of the stuff that we do, so I think it kind of helps us in the long run save some money as well.
mm, yeah, definitely. I highly agree with that. Like I said before, I'm a filmmaker also, so I definitely try to take some shortcuts, try to save budget and
Yeah, dude, you have to. It's everything's so expensive now,
dude,
So
for real.
and renting stuff is expensive, and doing all that stuff is so pricey. So it's just like the more that we could do ourselves, the happier I am. And like I said, we get exactly what we want when we do it ourselves and like just put in that extra bit of effort.
Mm.
And I think like sometimes I preach it too much, but I try to like any bands that we talk to, I'm just like, yo, you could do it yourself. Like do it, save yourself the money, put that extra money in the budget towards like something a new guitar cab or like a new guitar that you guys want for live or or recording time to make sure your
Mm.
record sounds amazing. People don't even really watch music videos like they used to. So if you could create something cool and do it on a budget, like that's what I would suggest to anybody.
That's a good message. That's a really good message for anyone out there.
Yeah.
Because same, so like you said, same approach to anything. Like with my filmmaking rig, I shoot on iPhone. Like I don't have like a big, like 5, 10 grand camera because
Yeah.
the iPhone, you can literally do anything on it. Like attach different lenses. You can like change anything on it like you can a normal camera.
Yeah.
And my last project I did, I actually got to adapt a Stephen King movie,
Oh, sick.
and I filmed it all on just my little iPhone. Just I think of like the Robert Rodriguez like approach to filmmaking. It's like you
Yeah.
do it all yourself. You can edit yourself, write, produce it. You can get the money. It's instead of hiring out all these people, it's a really good resource to have.
I agree. I think the more you do yourself, the happier you would be with the turnout as well. Just
Mm.
because it's like it's more of your vision being able to come through if you have the means to do it. If you know how to do it. Not everybody knows how to, edit and do stuff like that as well or color grade. Even if you just recorded stuff, you edited it the way you wanted to, and then send it to someone who knows how to color grade well, you could have something super nice and be stoked on it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I agree with that. I think do as much as you can yourself and you're your own worst critic really, but I think you'd be happier with what you accomplish and what you have at the end.
And you could also learn a lot that could go towards say like another professional job, like if you want to do a band or be a filmmaker, like you can use all that work to more projects.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, I mean, our friend Alex Henry, he plays in Fiddlehead and he plays in Basement as well, but he films a lot of music videos for a lot of people. He films all the Fiddlehead videos. He's done music videos for, I think he did one for Citizen. He's done a bunch of stuff for Run for Cover in general, that like just like videography stuff for their like little like small talks that they do, and they do like the RFC gives you some money and you go to a record store, like he does all that kind of stuff and definitely makes some money doing that. Probably, and with the music videos, definitely makes a good amount of money doing that on the side.
Right.
And he's Turnstile's videographer and photographer. So it's like, this guy's a jack of all trades. But yeah, he's I think that's a great way to just learn and let your creativity flow without having somebody else have to try to work your vision.
Mm. Exactly. Very good points. And you talked a little bit about before, but like you toured a lot this year, you played a lot of festivals, and next year announced you're playing Rockville. And just I'm very curious like your thoughts about like the touring experience. And I guess is this year like the most shows you played in like a year?
I'm not sure if this year has been the most, but it's definitely been a lot. It's been a lot for sure. I actually think next year is going to be even more, which is kind of crazy to think about that because we're doing uh right at the top of the year we're doing a neck deep tour in the UK, and then we're doing Japan and Australia, and then we're doing another tour that's not announced yet through April, and
Mm.
then another tour right after that, right after Rockville that we were just talking about before this, that's not announced yet as well. And then I think we're doing like some other festivals and then another tour in the fall next year.
My
Like,
God.
yeah, it's gonna be. I think next year will probably be the biggest and busiest year for the band, which I'm really excited for. But yeah, lots of touring. Probably we'll probably end up touring like 6 times next year, which is crazy.
Man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, man, good luck with that. And I'm sure I'm definitely going to see you more times outside of Rockville.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I think we'll definitely be down your way at least another time outside of Rockville next year for sure.
Sick. Yeah, I'm definitely going to make my way out.
Sick.
And the hardcore scene in music has always been more about than just the music. So with the songs that you make, what messages or themes do you hope listeners take away from the music?
I say this all the time, but I just want people to connect with the music in their own way and just like find whatever it means to them in the lyrics and like just take that and run with it, because I write the songs like kind of based off a lot of my personal, life events and personal issues and things like that. And that might mean something different to like somebody else. So I always just say like if you connect with the lyrics in your own way, like that's what it means. That's what it means to you. So that's what the song means. Because I just want it to mean something to like at least one person.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I read a lot of the songs about, like I said, a lot of personal issues and just events. It's a very time and place thing for me. Every record is kind of a time and place thing that I don't think could be recreated if it was at another time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's kind of why I've always felt that way about our band, just because I just don't think we could physically and like emotionally write the same thing twice. Like I think it'll just always be constant growth and doing something like even if it's not completely different, it's something new feeling.
Mm,
So, but yeah, that's kind of how I do it at least, and how I think about that kind of stuff.
right. And what song would you say is, I guess, your favorite that you've written or your most personal to you?
I would say Giants Despair, probably. Giants Despair is I would say that's my favorite song we've ever written. And if not that one, hmm, uh I love playing Leap Years just because it's really fun and it's catchy.
Mm,
But yeah, I think that's probably I would say Giants Despair is probably my favorite song we've ever written. I really like Dark Blue a lot as well. That song is that one holds something special to me as well. Um, but yeah, that's I just love writing music and just constantly trying to improve and grow.
mm,
Keep 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 us just trying to think of what could be next and keep us moving.
mm. I love that, man. And the hardcore scene has changed a lot over the years. What's something you love about the current state of it, and what would you like to see improve in it?
The thing I love to see the most is how often there are like mixed bill shows again, and seeing bands like us and Koyo and Anxious who, aren't necessarily as heavy or anything like that as like Tsunami and Pain of Truth and bands like that still all coexist together and support each other and all be homies, and you know it's a community, and it feels like a community with when it's very inviting, and there's a lot of young kids and new people coming in and that feel comfortable and stuff like that. And I think having these mixed bill shows really allows kids who maybe have never even heard of hardcore outside of our band or Anxious or Koyo from a support, like playing a support tour, get to see a band like Tsunami and Pain of Truth and you know insert hardcore band and be like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever done, and this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like I'm obsessed with this now. Like, because that's how I was when I was a kid. Like, you see a band that just absolutely blows you away live, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. You know. So I think that is the coolest thing about hardcore right now, and just I love to see how many new kids are discovering it because I think that's what really keeps it alive. Um, I don't know what really needs to improve about it. In my opinion, I think it's literally the biggest it's ever been right now. So like something is working. Whether it's TikTok or Instagram or a viral video or you know any of that stuff that's bringing kids in and having new people discover it. Like something is working and it's just going to keep getting bigger. I mean, Knocked Loose and Turnstile being like two of the biggest rock bands right now and like rock metal band, like that's putting such a big thing on hardcore music.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I think I think it just needs to keep rocking and doing the thing, and hopefully it just keeps getting better.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely feels like it's the biggest it's ever been. And like you said, either if it's like, social media bringing it up or hell, even recently knocked loose on Jimmy Kimmel, like it's being really big in the public eye right now.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. And some people will probably say like I miss when it was just like hardcore's not the same. And I wish it was like how it was in 2015 or like 2016 and whatever. But like hardcore's not the same, but it's like it's awesome. And there's young kids and there's people that are like obsessed with it again.
Hmm.
Not that like people weren't obsessed with it before, but like there's more people obsessed with it and there's more people discovering like new bands and supporting these bands and going to all these festivals that like we've been going to for years and now they're even bigger and more fun and awesome. Like it's just like you really can't hate on how big it is now in my opinion because it's just like it's still the thing that you love. There's just more attention and there's hopefully more kids that are going to start sick bands and keep hardcore alive.
I love that. That's awesome. And there's only about 2 more minutes left on this meeting because I don't pay for freaking Zoom Pro because
Yeah,
why
yeah.
pay for it? But I'll ask one more question and then I'll leave you to it. But if there's one message you'd like to let out there into the world, what would that be?
Man, just I don't know, just work hard and have goals and be creative. I That's all I've really done for like the last, you know, fucking 7 years of my life at this point, and I just want to do the things that make me happy, and I think everybody should strive to do those things as well.
That's it. Final message.
Yep, that's it.
All right, man. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I know it was a little back and forth for a little while, but we did it. Finally got it.
Yes. Yes, we got it, dude. I'm down. I'm happy that you asked me to be a part of this.
Yeah, man, it's so sick, like seeing a band like from Wilkes-Barre doing this. It's just fucking sick.
Dude, thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It was super great to meet you as well at the Jack show. And yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, like, we'll stay in touch. If anything, I got you on Instagram. So if anything comes up, I'll let you know. Like, if I'm ever back in Wilkes-Barre and you guys aren't touring, like, to
Yeah,
do like an
dude.
in-person thing, like, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, let's kick it, man. I'm down. You let me know when you're in town and we'll figure something out.
All right, man.
All right,
Again,
brother.
thank you so much and have a happy holidays.
Yeah, you too, dude. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.